So these three products get my vote for the best backpacking post-emergent products. Well, it's raining again. I gotta find shelter. I'm not able to work in the rain. My spreader's back there getting soaked. So I'm gonna talk about a few products that I like to use, not in the rain, but since I'm not able to spray in the rain, I'm gonna talk about a few products that I like to use for spot treating weeds. All right, I found myself a little gazebo here. Oh gosh, I just got wet bum syndrome. I'm gonna roll with it. Okay, so we all know that pre-emergent does a good job of keeping weeds out of your yard, but it doesn't keep 100% of weeds out of your yard. So there's always post-emergent treatments that you need to put in a backpack or put in a tank and spray your existing weeds this time of year. So we're mid-June, we're about to be in July, and we need to mix up some post-emergent products in a backpack. So I'm going to talk to y'all about three of my favorite products that I like to mix in a backpack for post-emergent herbicides, for post-emergent treatment. So if you have existing weeds in your yard right now, obviously it's too late for pre-emergent. Pre-emergent's not going to kill those. So you mix up post-emergent products in a backpack sprayer or a handheld sprayer, and you treat those weeds. So I'll flip the camera around here. I'm going to talk about three of my favorite products that I'm using right now: MSM, Archon, and Celsius. Archon is fairly new to me, so I'm just going to start with that. We've had a ton of rain. Okay, we've had a ton of rain this spring, early summer. So with rain, what do? You get nut sedge, you get sedges, you get kalinga, purple nut sedge, yellow nut sedge. So you've got to have a product to kill sedges. Archon is a new product that I've come across that does great with sedges. So I've just peeled the labels off of the bottles here. It's easier to flip through the labels with them just laying on a table like this. So this is Archon. What type of grass can you spray Archon on? Well, I deal with warm season turf grasses, but here we go. It's talking about cool and warm season turf grass. So the cool season turf grasses you can spray this on is Kentucky bluegrass, fine and tall fescues, ryegrass, creeping bentgrass. As far as warm season turf grass, you can treat Bermuda grass, zoysia grass, St. Augustine, and centipede. Those are the four type grasses that we really deal with here in Alabama. But you can see all of the different types of grasses that you can spray Archon on. So let's get to the weeds. It doesn't really cover a lot of weeds, just looking at this section here, but the main purpose of Archon is to kill sedges. So here we go, weeds controlled, sedges, kalinga. So it covers annual kalinga, annual nut sedge, and then you look over here, purple nut sedge and yellow nut sedge. So, we see all three here. So this does a great job of getting rid of nut sedge. So you've got nut sedge in your yard. This is the first year that I've ever really heard of Archon. So I don't know how long it's been out. It may have been out for a while now. All of this nut sedge out here. I need to come out here and spray this with Archon. But this is just a local park here, and I do not have a contract to spray this area. But I'm giving Archon a try, and then I've actually gone back and I've done some follow-up treatments on my nut sedge, and I'm finding that the nut sedge that I sprayed 2 weeks ago is yellowed up. If the homeowner has done a good job of mowing, it's gone. So mowing is an important part of getting rid of nut sedge. So if your customers or if your homeowners are not properly mowing, then that nut sedge is yellow, but it's still there. So if they want to get rid of it, they need to manually remove it. In other words, mow their lawn. Celsius is the next product that I want to talk about. You may have heard of Celsius if you're in lawn care, but I love Celsius. It covers a wide amount of weeds, and if you've never heard of it, let me just go over some basics here about Celsius. I know it's windy today, and I'm sure I'm going to have some people tell me that I need to invest in a microphone and better camera equipment, but I'm just doing the best I can. I just appreciate you watching. So the type of grasses that you can spray Celsius on Here we go. Acceptable turf types: St. Augustine, Bermuda grass, zoysia, centipede, and buffalo grass. So all warm season turf grasses can endure Celsius. But let's get into the weeds that are controlled by Celsius. I'm going to try to hold my camera steady here, and you can just take a look at this. I mean, there's such a wide variety of weeds. This is only the beginning here. But Carolina geranium, that's a weed that we tend to see a lot of. All types of thistle. Look at all these weeds that are controlled by Celsius. Chamber bitter. We see a lot of chamber bitter in the springtime, early summer. I'm not seeing a whole lot of it now. I think we got rid of most of it. Dandelion, dog fennel, doveweed. Look at this. Okay, we're having some rainy weather. Doveweed is kind of like nutsedge. Well, it's nothing like nutsedge, but it's like nutsedge in the fact that it will only grow in wet soil. So we're seeing a ton of doveweed right now. But you see these two little dots right here next to doveweed? Well, let's flip over here and see what these dots mean. I can't find the dots. Here we go. Two little dots that were next to doveweed. It says suppression. So it won't kill doveweed just with one treatment. It suppresses it, which really means that you can do a second and a third follow-up treatment and Celsius will get rid of it. But it won't completely get rid of it after one treatment. So if you have doveweed in your yards, just spray it, do a little follow-up treatment, spray it again, and it might even need a third. Henbit, Celsius covers henbit. I'm not seeing a whole lot of henbit now. We've pretty much gotten rid of it, or it's all died off. We're in mid-June right now. Mouse ear chickweed. I mean, this covers a ton of broadleaf weeds. Spurge. This is spurge right here. You know that it's spurge because it produces this milky white substance here. So if you get down in there, break it, you have this milky white substance inside of it. Ants tend to really like this stuff. But right next to it, we have some type of sedge here. Archon will kill this. Virginia buttonweed. Here's Virginia buttonweed right here. It produces a little white flower along with it. Okay, so although this covers a good amount of broadleaf weeds, I'm going to get into my third product. Well, now that I took a break from working, the rain has stopped, but as soon as I get back to it, it's going to start raining again. So I'm also putting out fertilizer this time of year, and what I don't want to do is create ruts with my ride-on spreader. And this grass is just completely saturated here. If you're in a neighborhood and you're dealing with homeowners and your customers, be very careful about putting fertilizer out on overly saturated yards. If you have a big yard, you may just want to have to suck it up and push it with a push spreader rather than get on your heavy ride-on, or just wait for the weather to dry up. Okay, so my favorite product when it comes to post-emergent and backpacking is MSM. Let's check out the active ingredient of MSM. Methylfuron, okay? Methylfuron is the active ingredient of MSM. There are many other products that you can buy with that same active ingredient, methylfuron. This is just the brand MSM here. But MSM covers, kind of like Celsius, it covers a wide range of weeds. And this will kill pretty much any broadleaf weed in existence. If it's a woody stemmed plant, MSM will kill it. And MSM is also great for any warm season turf grass, Bermuda and zoysia. I do want to mention that when spraying MSM, it's a good idea to mix up a non-ionic surfactant with that. It actually is not going to work as well if you don't mix up a surfactant with MSM. So if it's just MSM in the backpack, it's still going to do a decent job, but you really need to have a non-ionic surfactant in there with it for it to embrace its full potential. Okay, so let's get into the weeds that MSM controls. This is my favorite product for backpacking weeds. Like Celsius, it covers a whole lot of broadleaf weeds. I haven't found a broadleaf weed that MSM does not control. But let's check this out. Bahia grass. MSM does a great job of killing Bahia grass. I know that's a big problem with some people, so MSM will smoke it. This is Bahia grass right here. So it starts here, but it then produces this long seed head. Let me pull it up so you can see it in the sky. Bahia grass always produces the peace sign. There are other weeds that look like this with the same type seed head, but they shoot off in multiple different areas. But Bahia grass always has the peace sign like that. This is not Bahia grass. So if you have Bahia grass, check out MSM. Bittercress, clover, and look at this, cocklebur. Okay, this is that sticker. I don't know if cocklebur is the same thing as a sand spur. Down on the Gulf Coast here of Alabama, we have a ton of sand spurs. If you've ever been to the beach in Alabama and you kind of get off of the sand path and into the grassy areas, I'm sure you've stepped on what I've just called a sticker. I would think if MSM controls cocklebur, it will also control those sand spur stickers. So if you live down in South Alabama or near the Gulf Coast and you have those, check out MSM and see if that'll work, and let me know. But I'm sure those are, I've heard a lot of people call those sand spurs cockleburs. My wife actually calls them cockleburs, although it's a different weed, it's a different plant. I'm pretty sure that MSM would control that, although there is no weed called sand spur in the weed control label here. Chickweed, common chickweed, vetch, dandelion, dog fennel, wild garlic, wild mustard. I don't know what wild mustard is. It sounds good. I might put that on my sandwich. Yellow wood sorrel, oxalis is the same thing as that. Now this label will also tell you the weeds where you can mix up a third to a half ounce rate, and then it gives you the option to mix up a half ounce to 1 ounce rate on other weeds. So make sure you read the labels and mix properly for whatever weeds you're seeing. Another weed that MSM will control is Lespedeza. This looks like spurge, but it's not spurge. This is Lespedeza. Remember what spurge looked like when you broke it? It had that milky white substance in it. Lespedeza does not. And Virginia buttonweed. I see a lot of Virginia buttonweed in my yards, and MSM will smoke that. Even just after one treatment, it kind of turns it purple. Now, it sticks around for a little while because Virginia buttonweed is low lying, and a lot of times the homeowners' mowers are not able to mow low enough to cut the buttonweed away. But I've noticed that it will just kind of dissipate over time. So it does a great job with Virginia buttonweed. Another weed that I don't see here on the label, and I may have missed it, is wild violet. You know, wild violet is circular. It has a waxy coating on it. I've found that MSM does a great job with that. Somehow it penetrates that waxy coating of wild violet, and it does a great job on that. Sometimes you need a second application if you're spraying wild violet, but MSM does work. So these three products get my vote for the best backpacking post-emergent products. Give them a try if you're having some issues with a lot of the broadleaf weeds that you were seeing on those labels there. If you have nutsedge, give Archon a try. I don't work for any of these chemical companies. I'm just in Lawncare, and these are a lot of the weeds that I'm seeing right now. These products control all of those weeds. The entire time that I've been out here, it has not been raining, so I feel like I've wasted my afternoon, but either way, I appreciate you sticking with me on this video. Thank you for watching.